Let's get salty!
Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and today our guest is Alliestrasza, the Dragon Queen of Hearthstone, whatever you want to call her. Just an icon, an absolute legend, and she has been just graced us with her presence here, and I'm very excited. We got lots to talk about, and welcome to, I guess, the podcast, YouTube show. I don't know what we call this, but welcome, Allie. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be doing this interview with you.
That's awesome. Well, thank you. I guess I start off pretty much every interview with the same question, and that is, what got you into like Hearthstone, YouTubing, streaming, all that stuff? What got you to go down this road?
Well, so let's see. I started playing Hearthstone very casually in 2014. So I wasn't playing in beta, but I remember downloading the Nox Ramus adventure, playing that a little bit, and then not really touching it again until 2015. And my partner, my fiance Mason, and his friends were the ones who introduced me to the world of Hearthstone. They were obsessed with it and always playing, and I was hanging out with them, and I was intrigued and felt left out. And I don't like not being in the know. So I'm like, well, what is this game? I want to learn about it. So I pretty much downloaded it because of that. And when I started to learn how to play, I fell in love with the game. I was like, wow, this is actually really, really fun. And I believe it was 2014 BlizzCon. That's when I really, like, my interest peaked a lot. So that's initially, what got me into it. And then over the course of 2015, that was my last year of college. I started to play it more and more and, increasing my love for the game. And when it came time to graduate in the fall of 2015, I learned about Twitch. They introduced me to this concept of live streaming, which I previously was not, very aware of it at all. And I like people, I like entertaining. And so when it came time to graduate college, I literally made a PowerPoint presentation to my parents saying that, hey, I'm going to attempt to do this. Sorry, there was just a notification that went off there on my computer. My bad. That's all good. I basically made this PowerPoint. I linked a Forbes article to my parents about how gamers are making money, in live streaming and stuff like that. And so when I graduated, I was like, hey, I'm going to take 6 months and attempt to do this. And if I can see significant growth in that 6-month time, I'm going to stick with it. And if I don't, then I will go get a job, whatever it may be. So it was kind of like, some people when they graduate university, they go backpacking for a period of time. I was like, I'm going to stream for that period of time and see if I can make it, I guess. So, and then that's kind of how this whole thing started. Graduated college in December. My first stream was February 1st, of 2016. And then the rest is kind of history after that. So, yeah.
I think you took a good gamble on that one. I think it's worked out pretty well, I'd have to say.
I think it worked out. Yes.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of time in that beginning months that I didn't think it was going to work out. I started streaming with my 3 friends, they all had my stream up while I was doing, my 9 to 5, treating it exactly like a job. And, I had 3 people in there at first, and then slowly but surely, one by one, more and more people came, which was cool. I even had one friend who actually got her office to put up my stream on their computers. It was the sweetest thing in the world. It was such nice support. She's like, guys, can you put up Allie's stream? And yeah, anyway, so that was a long time ago, but I think it's worked out.
And that's one of the tips I always say when people want to start out streaming is just tell your friends. People don't seem to understand. Just literally just get a few people. And if your story's not evidence enough that, just getting a few friends to help out can help you out if you're looking into starting to stream. Every little thing helps. So that's awesome to hear. And I just remember, I think the first time I remember really getting to know you as a streamer was, I think it was Twitch Rivals, where you could get like the 2 different card backs. I don't know.
Yes.
Where you were teamed up with Crip, and I'm like, I was like a big Crip mod. I was always in his chat. I'm like, I had to inform him like who Alliestrasza is, and like I was like, she kicks ass. She's gonna do good. And I remember that event. That was really I don't know if he knew who you were at before that or not that well, but I mean, it certainly does now. That's for sure. How was that event? Like was that your first big event you did for them, or have you done other stuff?
I think that might have been one of the first big events. Yes, there was Team Light and Team Void, right?
Yeah,
and I was on Team Light, and I guess Crip was on my team. I think Reynad was too. I remember Tice was on the opposing team. Like, there was this promotional October brawl where you would support each team with a card back, and then the culmination of the promotional event was at TwitchCon, the October brawl, and then I got on stage and had to imitate Jaina emotes while playing against Tice. Like, it was definitely a lot of fun. It was a good event. I think that might have been one of the first things that I ever did, and that must have been in October of 2017, I think. It must have been 2017. Yep.
So that, I still remember that pretty well, and that was cool to see. Like, and those are some OGs there with like Griffin or Reynad and I mean, Reynad's even come back a little bit lately, so that's been kind of cool.
I have seen him streaming Classic, which has been pretty cool actually. But yeah, it was interesting because at the time, like, you know, I'm coming into it being like, oh my God, these are the OGs, you know, all those people, a huge imposter syndrome, as I think everyone goes through in that situation. But now I think about Hearthstone and, you know, the 7 years, I guess, and I'm like, wow, I guess I'm not like the oldest OG, but I've been around for a while now, so.
Yeah. It's like there's not that many people that have been around longer in the big scene than you at this point. There's, you know, what is it, Crip, Tice, and everybody else has kind of moved on, it feels like, for the most part.
Yeah, we have seen a lot of creators leave Hearthstone for sure. I think Toast and I actually got in at a very similar time. I think both of our streams started to grow at the same time, and obviously we've seen Toast leave and lots of people. So it's a little sad, but I'm still here. I'm still hanging.
Still kicking butt. And I guess we'll start off with one more kind of easier type of question where we'll talk about probably the big elephant in the room.
Yep.
With everything going on. How have you been enjoying like the newest expansion, core set, rotation? I recently just put out a tweet today, and people are like, this isn't Zeddy. I just said I've been having probably more fun with Hearthstone lately than I've had in a long time. I've been really enjoying it. But I'm wondering, like, how are you finding everything now that like Deck of Lunacy's been like scaled back, and
I mean,
the game's kind of Hearthstone again?
Yeah, it was brutal, honestly, with Deck of Lunacy. So now I think it's really good. I think the Rush Warrior deck is one of the coolest decks, and like I kind of expected, I think a lot of people did too, that Warrior was gonna sort of be the star of the Barons. Kind of just makes sense thematically, right? But for that first, I don't know, few weeks, I can't remember exactly how long it took them to nerf Lunacy. That was just unforgivable. Like that was just rough. But now I think it's in a pretty good state. And, you know, I actually took a few months off of Hearthstone for a while where I played Magic. I played MTGA. And, you know, Magic is obviously the OG card game that has implemented this core set. So my exposure to Magic always had me thinking, why doesn't Hearthstone have this rotating core set? It just makes perfect sense. So that when that came to fruition, it made me really happy, and I think it's going to keep things fresh. And now I think the expansion is in a really good spot. Yeah,
the core set, and even like modes like people that don't think about a lot of time, like Arena. I've been playing a lot of Arena just because the core set made that a lot more fun. Like that changed things up. You don't have like mind control and stuff in there too. So
yeah,
it's a lot of cool stuff going on. And yeah, I just want to, you know, people are like, oh, I'm always negative. No, when they do good stuff, I like to celebrate, and it's cool to see that, you know, things are getting better. I mean, Kibler was pushing for the core set for a long time, so I know he's really happy about it. But
I think think it's just at a certain point, like, we've all, a lot of us have been playing this game for 5+ years, 5, 6, 7 years. And, as much as I love, certain combos of cards, the eviscerates, the saps, whatever, I think that in order to keep the game fresh, and you got to change it up. And it's not like they can't bring eviscerate back.
They did. It's
someday,
called Wicked Stab.
And it allows for probably a lot more of design space as well. If Malygos is going to be a really problematic card with certain things, like it logically only makes sense to bring it back when it's healthy,
Yeah.
So,
yeah, like Stone Boar and all that stuff. You can kind of, they can do more stuff now and maybe make even more crazy things and break the game, and then we can, do the usual thing.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I wanted to bring up, so we just had the, the big controversy lately in Hearthstone.
Yes.
Sadly, there always seems to be a controversy, at least in recent times.
There's been a lot of drama in the last, I don't know. Maybe it's always been there. I don't know, but it
I
feels
feel like since
more
the Blitzchung thing, it's been like every once in a while, it's just been something else. But yeah, we have the representation issue in Hearthstone. I mean, you were kind of front and center because you're like actually one of the female participants, but originally we had the invitational. Only 2 out of, I think, 20 participants were women.
Yep.
A lot of people spoke up, and now we had 4. We had Aveline and Luna added. And I just wonder, how do you feel that Blizzard kind of handled that situation? Like, especially someone involved directly.
Right.
How do you feel they handled it?
Well, I would be lying if I said I'm like 100% happy, right? Of how they handle it. I think Blizzard has a habit of doing this thing where they screw up, then they fix things retroactively, and it's just like, well, I wish you were just kind of on the ball from the beginning, making these concepts, these things a priority from the get-go, right? So obviously I'm happy with the result. I did speak privately with the community team, and I know that they are committed to fixing this and being more inclusive moving forward. But I think it being so retroactive and it's been the same thing for years and years just kind of felt bad. It leaves a bad taste in people's mouth. And I think it might have been that it wasn't possible to add the 2 other women to the roster, but the replacement thing, I think, like obviously Regis and Crip were amazing, so gracious, to give up their spot and allow for other people to have, a chance. That was really nice of them. But it would have been awesome if, the 2 were just added as well, to not make the community upset of like people replacing each other, et cetera, et cetera. But it's possible that the way that the format was set up, it wasn't doable. So, yeah, I mean, overall, I'm obviously stoked that they have a commitment to be better moving forward. But, like I said, obviously it would have been nicer if they had been more on top of it from the beginning. So,
yeah, I put out a tweet just challenging Hearthstone to be more proactive. That was my big takeaway, because like I think it's good, that they've done this, but at the same time, it's like, why do we need a community uproar and having people basically feel they have to sacrifice a lot just to get them to move? Because we had like, just to name a few, we had like Alkali, Likey, Aveline, Baby Bear, Nicolina, Slissa, Sungleaders, like all of them step up and share very personal stories that that can get a lot of like it gets them a ton of negativity. It gets them so, like, the comments you have to read when you're talking about this stuff is just awful, and they have to put that out there just to try and get Blizzard to get with the times. And especially like Pathra's twit longer she put out the other day about why she's not playing Hearthstone. It's a lot of it has to do with this, and there's a good chance she's not coming back, and that sucks, because Pathra is an awesome person, and she's great in the community, but when you're that hurt that much, it's just not worth it.
Absolutely. And I just, like, for me personally, like, I have never really been the loudest person, right? I struggle with, anxiety and the courage to be loud, you know? And I just want to say, for me personally, like, I'm so inspired by it takes a lot of courage to share traumatic experiences. And the fact that, you know, so many women spoke up, shared their personal experiences, like it sort of built this, I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, but this community sense of like sticking together, banding together, and like trying to make change together. And all the women speaking up, but also so many supportive men as well. Like it was an entire community of being really supportive and wonderful. And obviously, you know, the Hearthstone community team listened, but yeah, I just really want to commend so many of the women that spoke up. It's really wonderful. So.
And I'll put you on the spot. I want to commend you because you put yourself on the line. Like, I know you haven't made it public or whatever, but you've put your financial well-being on the line. You put the pressure on the team privately. And I feel like people need to at least know that as someone who's been involved, like you could easily sit back and like, well, I'm in the invitational. It doesn't, no, you fought too. And I just want to thank you for that, for doing that for the community. Cause yeah, it's just, a good change happened, and I think they'll I mean, we're gonna make them stay to their word anyways, like we've talked about. They're gonna stay to their word and stay committed and get better representation, and hopefully we can, you know, get more representation for the other issues that are going on as well. But you know, one step at a time, and at least I think it's a step in the right direction.
I think that's how change happens. You got to tackle one thing at a time. There's still a lot of work to be done, but you know, this really did feel like a victory. And you know, it's just kind of one of those things where, you know, I really think Blizzard has the responsibility to have a bigger part in all of this. You know, they can choose who to invite to these events, and it doesn't really seem like there's that systematic of how you pick the content creators. And I think if we get back to the fact that these are promotional events, you know, there's no competitive merit, like qualification, that kind of stuff. You know, I think this is a brilliant opportunity to feature whomever you want, you know. And so with that, let's take the opportunity to be inclusive of different genders, races, et cetera, et cetera. So
yeah, exactly. So I thought we were talking about this before the podcast, that Nova would calm down, and
it's actually really funny that you mentioned that, because Ty, as we speak, is meowing at the door to get in. So our cats must be synced up.
Yeah, she's literally now on my lap, purring and like cuddle me, worship me. So I'll try. I can multitask. It's
okay.
Fine, so.
Like I said, me of all people, I totally understand the cat interruptions. So you're good.
Yeah, we're both. If you guys are, I mean, familiar with either of our streams, they're very cat centric, and or just the YouTube channel for me is very cat centric, and I don't think they'll be too upset. I guess moving on from this, there was, you mentioned it, I was gonna bring it up, was for a while you did seem to have moved on from you were playing a lot of Magic. You weren't really doing Hearthstone. Your YouTube was also Magic based, it seemed like, for quite a bit. Were you just burnt out with Hearthstone, or did you want to just change things up? Were you just, what brought on that change for you?
I think it was a combination of a lot of different things. I took on a 1-year sponsorship with Magic, which was awesome. You know, sometimes like you get sponsored to play certain games and you're like, wow, I got sponsored to do this. Like, that's so cool. So it was a combination of like, I was already playing for the purpose of that sponsorship. And the more that I played, I realized how awesome Magic is. And it just made me want to play more. And it was something that I shared in with Mason. So again, Mason's my partner. He started playing Magic when he was 10 years old. And he started competing in the same year that I really started to, or he had been competing previously, but he picked up competing again in the same year that I started playing more Magic Arena. So it was something that we were sharing and with together, and it was a ton of fun. And I think I think it was a combination of, yes, like I have definitely had my periods of burnout with Hearthstone, and Magic was sort of a new challenge. I wanted to see what I could do with it. You know, hitting Mythic was really important to me. And I even competed in Magic. I did reasonably well. They had like online qualifiers, and I found a deck that really worked for me, which was Fires of Invention, which is like the most Hearthstone deck. If any of you guys are familiar with Magic and Hearthstone, well, obviously Hearthstone, but Fires of Invention deck basically was you can't play cards on your opponent's turn. So it was like such the Hearthstone deck, but it worked for me, and I had a lot of fun playing that and competing in it, and played DreamHack, got top 32, super proud of that. And I think I just wanted something different, and I wanted to challenge myself in a different way. I've been doing Hearthstone for so long, and I just wanted to see if I was capable of doing all right in another game. And I also really loved the Magic community. They were all really nice to me, and I loved the game a lot. And ultimately, I decided to play Hearthstone again. I don't really know exactly what it was that led to me going back. I would be lying if I said that obviously my stream was more successful playing Hearthstone. I get higher viewership. My YouTube does better. You know, you make more money when you are playing your respective game that you've built your audience with.
Yeah.
But for, I think it was like 3 months of me pretty much not playing Hearthstone at all. I didn't really care. You know, my viewership was chopped in half, but I was just enjoying it so much that I just rolled with it. But ultimately, Hearthstone's home, haha. So ultimately, Hearthstone is still my main game, and I went back to it. But I enjoyed the challenge and the change, I guess.
Yeah, I got picked up I hadn't played Magic. Hearthstone's actually the first ever card game I ever played.
Hearthstone is the first card game you've ever played?
Yeah, I had never played anything, and I just picked it up because I needed something to do while I was studying in school, and it was free, and yeah, I went from there. But when Magic, they sponsored me for like I think a couple of streams when they were really trying to get Magic Arena pushed on Twitch, and I played it, and I did some co-ops with Bloody, who is amazing.
Love Bloody.
And she coached me mono red, a budget mono red.
Okay.
And I went from learning that to Mythic in I think 3 weeks.
That's one way to do it. Mono red just
it was the most. I'm like, hey, it's like Face Hunter, and
basically.
It got me to Mythic, but I really enjoyed Magic. Magic is a real. I love the game. It's just for me, like with Hearthstone, like it's hard to find time, and I found card games aren't cheap. And Magic, I don't think is particularly cheap. So I'm like, I can't really play the decks I want to try out. Like, I could do this mono red thing that got pretty boring pretty quickly, but I did quite enjoy it. It's a really great game, and I feel like people that if you play Hearthstone and you want to pick up another card game, like people talk about Legends of Runeterra a lot, which is really good, and also a lot more accessible free to play wise. But Magic is, it's been that staple card game forever for a reason, and I mean, I saw how much you enjoyed it, and I saw you like your card reveals and stuff for there. That was always cool. And I just want to say your card reveals, I always say it, like I think every time you have one, I always like say it, like your card reveals are always like my favorites. They're like,
thank you.
They're always really good. You always put a lot of effort, and I don't know how much you enjoy doing them, but it seems like you put a lot of effort compared to a lot of other people into it.
Honestly, well, one, thank you for saying that. The card reveals mean a lot to me. There's been a lot of effort over years of time going into those videos, and I think just what led to wanting to put that much effort in was just I like to be creative, and I love filming, like I love photography and cameras and stuff like that. So when I got my first card reveal, Mason and I were like, all right, how do we make this kind of different, and for a while it was one of my really good friends, and who was also my YouTube video editor at the time. Like the three of us just had such a blast thinking of ways to be creative to deliver this card for people. And I felt like they got better and better. Like, they're always really cringy, but I think in a good way.
It's Hearthstone. You gotta be
It's
cringy,
Hearthstone.
though.
Like, it matches the vibe.
Yeah.
So I do love them. I think at this point, they're a lot of work for not that much return. Like, I know the community really appreciates them, but for example, the Dragon Queen Alliestrasza reveal, I didn't have to do this, but I wanted to. I rented an Alliestrasza cosplay from a cosplayer for like $800, just something crazy, you know, sending it to me from Canada. And, you know, and I don't know, the video got maybe 30, 40,000 views or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's
definitely not $800 worth of revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I went negative on that video, but I know that it means a lot to the community, and so I definitely still enjoy it. But I also sort of felt like there was this pressure that got built because I felt like for a while they were getting better and better and better, and then I felt like I had to keep topping each one. So as time has gone on, they've become a little bit a source of stress when card reveal season comes around. But yeah, thank you for the compliment, though. They mean a lot to me. So
it's funny you say the benefit of it. I don't Regis, when I talked to him a while ago, he's like, I always get annoyed when they give me card reveals at this point. I'd rather they give them to somebody else. I don't like, it doesn't help me that much, or like it's not that big. Like, I'd rather spread it around. But that's just Regis. Regis is very unselfish in that way. Like, whenever he talks about the invitationals to me, he's like, I don't even want to, I don't want to be invited, but I'm not going to say no if they invite me, you know, like.
Right. I can absolutely sympathize with that, because, you know, it's like when you're invited to something, or if you're given a card, like, you sort of feel like you owe it to yourself of what you've built, you know, to take every opportunity. But I actually remember Regis saying this in your interview with him, that he carries like guilt a little bit in all of it, and I absolutely do as well. So, you know, I hope that Blizzard is, like, I don't know, in a way committed to rotating content creators more. And I feel like that's kind of rich coming from me, because I've accepted pretty much like every standard invitational that I've been invited to for the past, you know, 5 or 4 years, whatever it is. But like I touched on it earlier, but they have the tool set to promote many different content creators, and the Regis, the me, like, we're happy to sit them out, to give other people the platform and allow for other people to be grown in the way that Blizzard did for us. So I hope that they're committed to that moving forward.
And as someone who can be very critical, and I feel like nobody should ever give content creators any flack for accepting or being involved in these things. Like, you work so hard to get where you are, and I don't think it's the burden should be on the content creator to be like, you know, get somebody else in there. That should be something that Blizzard should at least be, like we've said, more proactive on. So even like the theory crafting streams a lot of people hate on, I've always said, don't give the content creators any flack over. If you don't like it, voice that to Blizzard and stuff. So, but it's been nice to see people step up. Like, again, Regis and Crypt, that was above and beyond. And I messaged Crip after that happened just to thank him for that, and he's like, oh yeah, me and Ronnie saw that, and we're like, we'll just step down. It's not a big like, he didn't even think a second thought of it. It's just like it's a good thing to do, and get somebody else in there.
Very selfless, and I'm so appreciative that they did that. It was good mans.
Yes. So I have a weird question that I'm friends with Luker, Hearthstone Pro.
Love him. I actually tuned into his stream the other day, like randomly, just when everyone. Sorry, I'm tangent real quick. I tuned into his stream when he was just talking about, you know, the drama that was going on about Blizzard being inclusive, and he was awesome. Guys, you should check out Luker's stream. I just really appreciated everything that he was saying. He was super nice, and yeah, that was one of the first times that I'd spent like an extended amount of time in his stream. And then he hosted Nicolina afterwards when she went and talked about all of her experiences. So shout out to Luker. You're really awesome. Sorry.
Yeah, Luker is a great dude. Whenever I have like one of these more touchy things to talk about, he's the guy I go to go through it, because he's just a really good dude. And I guess I mentioned I was going to be interviewing you, and he's like, you have to ask Allie about you and Mason. Apparently something with like aliens or like a UFO spotting or something. I don't know. He kept bringing something up that there's some story about. I don't know, or maybe I'm misremembering, but he kept saying, I need to ask you something about you spotting a UFO or some crazy weird story. I don't know.
Wow. Okay. I think if I saw a UFO, I'd probably remember. Wow, I am really trying to jog my memory here. I do have a very specific memory. The closest thing I can think of right now is, it's also an opportunity to shout out my friend, the Cantaloupe, who's awesome.
Oh.
Devin, you guys should definitely check out his stream if you haven't either. We were in San Diego and we were at a restaurant, bar, that kind of thing. And Devin in the distance, in addition to our friend Morgan, saw this like crazy thing in the sky that just zipped in a way that was not natural. And granted, we're in San Diego, so maybe it was some kind of like military Camp Pendleton, who even knows? I don't know. But Devin was just like, I couldn't explain what he had just seen. And Mason and I were there. Maybe I've told that story before. I can't think of another one, but
right, well,
that's the first
I'll
thing.
have to recheck with Luker, but at least we got to shout Luker out, so that.
We need a follow up here. So Luker, please, and it might be something that I'm just completely spacing on. So, and
shout out to Cantaloupe. I'm in Lope's chat pretty much every single stream he's there. He's an awesome dude, and he's been blowing up lately. So I've been
he's been doing
really
so well. Yeah, I'm super happy to see him grow. He's been my friend for quite a few years now. So I love the Lope.
He needs to get on the YouTube game. He's got such a good personality. I keep pestering him, but.
And he's so talented. Like, he's a really talented dude. He's just like a beatboxing, singing. He's just good at things. Like, we're talking up Lope a lot, but we mean it.
He deserves it. And he actually has like a YouTube channel, I guess, where he does like these weird musical things that has like over 100,000. Like, it has like one, I can't remember what the viral meme is there, but I think that did it really well.
I do remember this. Yes. I don't remember exactly what the video was, but it's like he made a music type thing that went viral years ago on YouTube.
Nobody's got time for this or something like
that. Yeah. I think that's what it was.
And you can play that as a voice sound if you do check out twitch.tv/Cantaloupe, all right?
Yes.
He's not paying me, I promise.
Hashtag ad.
Exactly. Another thing I wanted to mention is you have your little sisters at Bellaboo. Is that her? Yeah. So she streams. I've seen she's like partnered on Twitch as well. She streams Overwatch. I was just curious how it's been seeing your younger sister. Basically, it seems like following in your footsteps. I don't know if she's been like doing it because of you, or just how has that been having like streaming in the family?
Well, Bella has been just like the biggest gamer her entire life. Like, I just have always just seen her like alone in her room playing her video games, and it's just, so it makes sense that she's following my footsteps, I guess, but I think she would have been doing this without me. Maybe seeing my, me making it a successful job is what gave her the confidence to like pursue it. But I could have seen her doing this with or without me. But she is a really good Overwatch player. She's a Grandmaster. Or she's been Grandmaster many times. I don't know if she's currently Grandmaster, but she's a tank player. And I always talk her up and on stream, and then people are like, oh yeah, okay, sure, let's go check out her sister. And then they come back to my stream and they're like, holy shit, your sister's actually really freaking good. And it's true. So she was partnered probably within a year ago. I mean, she hasn't been doing it that long. She's probably coming up on 2 years. But she got partnered, and yeah, it's been nice to have someone in the house sort of to sympathize with on Twitch chat being idiots, sometimes, or whatever it may be. And I would say that it's definitely brought us closer together. So I'm really happy to share in this relationship, like experiences with her. And yeah, I really think you guys should keep a lookout for her. She's really good. She's only 20 too. She's very young. She didn't actually go to college. She graduated high school and then immediately came out here to live with me. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. But I mean, she's growing. She's partnered, and she's really good. So.
I tuned in for a little bit. I'm like, it's like just little. She just reminds me, sounds a lot like you, and reminds me a lot like you. So it's that was really cool to see. And hopefully she seems to be kicking ass. So you guys got some gaming mojo in that family. It's pretty good.
Yeah, we've definitely. I think we've just got a competitive background. Our dad was a tennis player, so he's like was sort of used to the idea of like doing something a little unconventional, having the competitive streak. So he's always been really supportive of us like competing. Like anytime I'm competing in a tournament, my dad's always like, how'd it go, Al? You know, keep me updated. And, you know, he even watched Overwatch League to like be able to converse with Bella, you know, get on her level and like know the teams and stuff like that. So I think a lot of our interest in gaming, even though it's you know, gaming versus sports, I feel like it's in the same realm of, you know, wanting to compete and play games. It's competitive, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, I played hockey most of my life.
Oh, nice.
But my competitive edge from hockey is it definitely translate over when I play Hearthstone. I was just as whiny a baby when I would lose in hockey as I am when I lose in Hearthstone. I would
love to see that, actually. I want to see Zeddy hockey. Like,
baby rage. Like, I nobody yelled at the refs more for missing calls. And I also refereed growing up, so I would know when they would screw up even more, so I could even angrier. But yeah,
I love that you are you. Like, that's fantastic. I think the community would love to see some Zeddy hockey footage if there's ever whatever comes about.
Got to dig up the old camcorder stuff my dad probably has somewhere. But yeah, I since my back surgery, haven't been able to play since. But man, it was something I really enjoyed doing. I guess we'll leave off with the last two interviews I've done with Dexter and Solemn. We kind of did like predictions where we see Hearthstone from a year from now. So I wanted to give you the opportunity to either make like 3 predictions or maybe just 3 like wish list type of things that you would like to see Hearthstone a year from now. And it can be in-game stuff. It can be, I mean, with the representation, whatever you want. What would you like to see or hope to see Hearthstone in a year from now? Like 3 changes or something like that.
Sure. I'm just going to fire off ideas. There might be more than 3.
Sure.
So on the technical game side of things, I really would love to see a rework of the UI. Like, just I think that they might be limited in design a little bit because they sort of have to fit this criteria of like, you know, secrets and quests. They have to like fill the same slot in the Christmas tree, or, you know, the what are they called? The towers. The watch posts. Sorry, there we go. The watch post kind of reminded me of like enchantments in Magic, but it was like Hearthstone's version of enchantments, right? So, you know, having something on the board that can't really, you know, I mean, you could interact with it. I suppose you can attack it down, but, you know, it couldn't attack. It felt like Hearthstone's answer to having an enchantment, right? Anytime your opponent plays a whatever, you summon a 2/2. So I'd really love to see like a little bit. Like, I don't know how intensive it would be. It probably very intensive on the team's part, but I'd love to see, you know, some change to the UI that might allow for different design in the game. So that's 1. 2, going back to our conversation with inclusivity and stuff like that, I really want the community management team to like put in a lot of effort to see who is really dedicated to this game and work to building them up, because over time your biggest content creators leave, you know, and there are new people who come into the game that are really enthusiastic and want to put in the hard work and the dedication. And I think it's sort of the responsibility of the community team to seek them out and to promote them. So I understand that the promotional events have to have, the crypts and the kibblers and stuff like that. At the end of the day, I'm logical. I realize that it's a business move and it's for promotion. So, but I think that you can have that by still having a mix of rotation of content creators. So that's one thing on the inclusion. And what else? I guess, this might be far reaching. I think the monetization is getting a little better. I think that Hearthstone is still obviously an expensive game. But I do think the Riot model of spend money on the cosmetics. I am such a sucker for cosmetics. I don't even play League of Legends. I have bought League skins. Okay, I kind of tried to play against the bots. I'm terrible because I didn't grow up playing MOBAs. But I bought League skins. TFT, I buy the boards even though I only play TFT for a month, when new sets come out. So I wouldn't mind if they, attempted to make the monetization a little bit more fair and accessible, more like Runeterra or something like that. And then if they wanted to go ham on the cosmetics, well, then that's fine with me, because you'll have the people who will want to spend the money on it, but it won't gatekeep people who might not have the money to put into the game. So I guess that's a third thing. And things that I'm just looking forward to is Mercenaries. I'm really looking forward to seeing how they build that out. I still don't even really have that great of a concept of what it's exactly going to be like, but it sounds really cool.
It doesn't seem like anybody really knows.
I don't really know what to expect. We know it's supposed to be, I guess, sort of akin to Slay the Spire and that kind of stuff, which clearly that genre does really well with people who love card games. So
Slay the Spire is amazing. I love that.
Yes,
love playing
absolutely. That game. And so I'm looking forward to Mercenaries. I don't know when that's coming out, but yeah, I have hope for the team if they just keep innovating and coming up with different ways to make the game accessible and exciting. And yeah, so there's some of my thoughts. I can probably think of more later.
But I'm really on the cosmetic train. I buy every stupid thing they put out, and I don't even like playing okay, they put out Sir Noyotron bundle. I'm this portrait is stupid. I hate it. I don't like playing Paladin. I bought it. I just, I love doing that stuff. And it'd be really cool if you could get a customizable map or hero power or all these different things you could do. You could just, and they have the most amazing artists working at Blizzard.
I know,
all their stuff
the
is
art
incredible. So if they could push more of that and make the packs cheaper or whatever, I think that'd be such a great step. And they could, it's hard for them to want to make that change when they've had this monetization structure forever, and it's worked. It's secure. It's probably their cash cow at Blizzard. Just pump out an expansion, we're going to get this certain amount of dollars. But it just could be such a more, I don't know, rewarding experience if you could do it that way. And still, I feel like they could probably, if they take that risk, make a similar type of profit off of it. But again, when it's working and you're Activision Blizzard, you're probably never going to risk that. And they've already made concessions with the battle pass after, all that. And now the core set being free. That's a pretty big deal. And the duplicate protection. So a lot of it's better, but it's still I did both pre-orders again. That was what, $150. And I still had to craft some more cards, and you still don't have everything. And that's 2 basically full price video games for 1 expansion 3 times a year. And I don't think we're quite at the point where we could call this game that accessible. And it would be cool if, they could go down that cosmetic route. And
100%. I think for a long time, I just sort of had it in my head. I'm well, card games are just expensive. That's just the genre is expensive. It is what it is. But we've seen, a game like Runeterra kind of figure out a way to make it more accessible and cheaper. So, but I completely recognize that, at least I assume, Activision Blizzard, there are so many different pockets of hierarchy, and, the team that we interact with, Ixar or whoever, the people that we have a like vision for that work on Hearthstone are probably not in control of the price of the battle pass and stuff like that. And they probably, I would guess, sympathize with us as much as, a lot, I would think, but they can't even make some changes. I mean, like I said, that's an assumption. I don't know the ins and outs, but I will say that, yeah, it has gotten better. The core set being free is huge. I actually do feel like I have more gold than I ever have. And I do think that the battle pass is fun. So I know that it was controversial in the beginning and they fixed it and it's better now. So I do think that they've made a lot of improvements. The new game modes, like, if we look at the compound of all the things that has happened over the last year or two, like there's a lot of good things. But you always want to be improving and trying to make your player base happy, because if they're not happy, they're gonna leave. So
and up to the test with the devs thing, I like the battle pass and all that. I think I remember mentioning Igzar. He had said some math stuff, but I can, from someone with an accounting background, knows how these kind of companies work. They just want to make cool cards. That's all those guys are doing. They want to make the game as cool as possible, and they want everyone to play it, but they don't get to set marketing strategies, any of that stuff. Like, and even with like the representation stuff going on, again, that's not something an Igzar or Celestalon. I know Celestalon was literally trying, you could tell he was torn up about it. He like tweeted supporting women. He's like, well, don't you, somebody said to him like, Celestalon, don't you work at Blizzard? He's like, yeah, and I'm trying to make change within. Like, they care. They have a very passionate team. Especially, I have so much respect for the dev team. I feel so bad for some of the dumb stuff I said about them way back when I was being a little salty baby about cards. They are just such a passionate group, and they care, and they make mistakes. They're human, just like all of us. But I think we've seen the way they've listened to us, especially Igzar with his AMAs every single week.
It is so awesome that he does those AMAs. I think it means a ton to the community, and it really gives us a little insight into how the card design team is operating, and it's little stuff like that if you're in it, like there are some people who probably log into Hearthstone, they don't know anything about Twitch. They don't know anything about, they don't follow any of the designers and stuff like that. But for the hardcore hardcore fans,
hardcore fans, hardcore, something like that. Yeah.
The little stuff like that really means a lot. And and I've met a lot of the designers and stuff over time, and it's really evident that they're so passionate about the game. But I just think that some things are out of their control, and it's like corporate structures, that kind of stuff. So
it's always that red tape, all that. It's especially, they're like a multi-billion-dollar publicly traded corporate. It's messy. It's pretty, but I think they do as good a job as they can, and I have a feeling they're pretty overworked these days, considering like every mode and million things going on, and they still can't get the friends list to work properly. Even after the billionth update, I'm still struggling just to challenge Saul when we're trying to record and stuff. It's
when you really think about it, like there's a lot of stuff going on in Hearthstone right now. Battleground, standard, duels, arena. They're gonna add mercenaries. Like for me as a player, I'm overwhelmed, with all the different options, which I think options are good, obviously, but it is a little overwhelming. So I can imagine the team is, doing a lot of stuff. And so maybe that's why things slip through the cracks sometime. I still think it's their duty to be on top of things, but maybe that's why some things happen. I don't know.
And that's why I wanted at least for the gameplay stuff, put a private test realm and let some other outside people try and test things before they come out. Because every expansion, it seems like there's something they miss. Like they said, they missed Deck of Lunacy, and maybe a pro player would have been able to help spot that. And I know they have great guys like Chalky and Boar, and did they bring on somebody else new? I don't remember. But anyways, they're there, but there's only so many people, and they're doing a million other things as well. So I'd love to see them, but again, I don't think that's in their control either. I think that would be another expense, and
for sure.
Got to get that through marketing and all that.
Compare I mean, as great as the design team and their testers might be, you can't just beat out the world, like the internet,
Yeah.
you know, all coming together, like people figure things out. So, and that's not their fault. Like you can't compare like a group of, I don't know how many people at test, 20, 50 people versus thousands and thousands, you know? So
Yeah.
I don't know the best solution to that, because obviously you don't, you know, you want things to be a surprise, but you know, for people of the community, but maybe there is a better way to, you know, have specific test groups before expansions come out. Because I will say the Barons expansion, like there was a lot of things, like bugs galore, like lunacy. It was not the best release. I think one of the, like the expansion itself was good, but the delivery I think was one of the worst that I've ever experienced in the 6 years that I've been in the Hearthstone scene, just with bugs and stuff like that. So obviously they fixed it. But I think, you know, moving forward, they got to mitigate those problems. So.
But first impressions are important, especially it's rotation. You have the most people coming back to try things out. When they come back and they can't even log into a game because it says error because they're trying to use golden. Like, it's just, that's something that just should never happen, especially for the game of that. And
I say this with, you know, literally no experience working at a gaming company. So, you know, I commend the team for doing what they do. And, you know, it's easy for me to say this, but like I said, I have no clue how hard it is to execute on certain things. So, yeah, I just want to say that.
For sure. But thank you for coming on. And I guess I will ask, where can people follow Alliestrasza?
Well, Alliestrasza is usually my handle for everything. So twitch.tv/Alliestrasza. My YouTube is also just Alliestrasza. My Instagram is Alliestrasza_ because there's an account with 0 followers, 0 posts, and following 0 people that is, you know, has the Alliestrasza account. It's fine, not salty about it. And Twitter's just Alliestrasza too. If you Google search me, you'll find all my stuff. And I just want to say thank you so much for having me. I really admire you a lot. You've grown your community a ton, and I think that your community loves you, and you are you, and you own that. And I know that you are just, at the end of the day, like, just really passionate about Hearthstone. So I know that you're vocal, but you're vocal because you love the game, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So I just want to say that to your audience, and you know, thank you again for having me on.
It means a lot. It really does, coming from you. So I appreciate it. And I guess, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to check out all of Allie's stuff she mentioned. And if you liked the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day.
Smash the like button.
Yeah.
What are the...
Smash it, and then we'll have more Nova on the channel, all right?
I'm getting better with the YouTube sellout stuff, but
yeah.
It always feels weird to self-promote. But yeah, you got to tell the people to do it, because it actually, you know, gets them to like it. So
it kind of works. It kind of
works. Mm-hmm.